Hi guys, welcome back to the next episode of PCTV. Tom and I are currently on our way up the M6 to meet this week's guest, and we've just been chatting through a few different things that have been on our minds this week and what we're going to talk about tonight and the content of the episode. And actually we thought it might make quite a nice introduction to this week's video. So for the next couple of minutes, this is me and Tom in the car.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us. I'm glad to be back on telly, actually. Thank you for having me. It's for the sake of variety, it's nice that there's four of us who are doing this. And it allows us to all give hopefully a bit of a different aspect to what we're trying to achieve. So really looking forward to this trip. Sort of the buzzword within agriculture probably over the last 6 months, what's really come to the forefront is mental health issues within agriculture. I mean, that's such a broad topic, mental health in agriculture. I mean, what even is mental health in agriculture? And I think that's what hopefully we're going to try and learn tonight. And then
I think it probably is one of those things that affects a lot more people than we realise.
Exactly, and you can probably have small scale and large scale, can't you? Obviously.
And I know, we've been talking. It's probably the nature of our industry and the nature of how we've been brought up that you probably don't really want to talk about it too much, and you don't really want to admit that actually you might be struggling with a couple of things, and you don't really want to admit to other people that you're not feeling that particularly strong.
Well, personally, I know where I'm from. Like, you could literally chop a finger off and your dad will give you some blue paper towel and say put that over it and get on with it. So to actually start talking about emotions and inner feelings is kind of like a no-go taboo subject. It's kind of, we'll just get on with it, isn't it?
Yeah, the flip side of that is that actually we looked at some sort of research that's been done in preparation for tonight, and there's a pretty chilling statistic that says that every week one person takes their life within agriculture, and because they're going through problems that they feel no one else can help them with, or they feel isolated and they feel that the only way out is to take their life, and that's a pretty scary thing.
Well, and that, like we've said before, me and Ross were just talking, and we said if you like most of you, if you're young people, you'll go along to somewhere like the AGM, something like that. Imagine being at that AGM and knowing that someone within, whichever bar that you're in, someone within that room will take their life by the end of the year within agriculture. That's the kind of statistic you're looking at. It's quite a scary
really
thought.
Scary thing, yeah.
I mean, I feel, obviously we all feel that one is one too many, let alone one person a week.
Yeah. And without being too blasé about it, that's 40 or 50 people every year. And I mean, if one person's too much, then 40 or 50 is definitely a very, very worrying statistic.
So we've been fortunate enough to tie down Naomi Wright. Some of you will know her, some of you won't. She's from the Berry Home herd, but she's also qualified in psychology. We've got this unique opportunity, so we had to grasp it with both hands, and I'm really, really looking forward tonight to try and learn a bit more about the subject. I have to say that I've struggled like probably everyone else has out there, but I wouldn't say I know anything about this topic really. Naomi's been good enough to give up her time this evening, so we're going to try and learn from her and sort of see if she can either shed light on why it is happening, and maybe either possible solutions,
or where to get help, what kind of help to get. And I think this episode for us is something totally different, and I know we've only just started this process, but the episodes that we've done already have been about things that we feel passionate about cows, about agricultural issues and that kind of thing, and this is probably a little bit out of our comfort zone, but we're really looking forward to finding out a bit more about it, because like we've already said, it's probably perhaps the elephant in the room, that everybody knows that it's a problem, but nobody really wants to talk about it because, let's be honest, we probably don't know enough about it to talk about it. And that's what we're really excited about, just to find out a little bit more from somebody that does know, somebody that sees maybe a little bit of the bigger picture about these things, and just get a different perspective on it. So yeah, we're really looking forward to meeting Naomi tonight. And one of the reasons that we've sort of brought this up and brought attention to this subject is we've also, anyone that's watched the first episode, you'll have heard us say that we're looking forward to doing the 3 Peaks Challenge in July. We are still planning to do that, and we'd quite like to raise some money for a foundation called the DPJ Foundation, something that Tom probably knows a little bit more
Well,
about.
yeah, it's just a touching story. I instead of me sat here sort of telling you all about it, I'd rather you go to the website, the DPJ Foundation, read the story for yourselves, and with that you will fully understand why we've decided to do it for that charity. I feel it's very fitting for what we're trying to do, and you know, it touched us a little bit, and we thought, no, this fits well. It's how we want to do it. I'm not going to go too much into the 3 Peaks Challenge because that's coming up at the end of July. We're going to set up like a GoFundMe page type thing, and there'll be details within the sort of website, YouTube page, and what we're doing.
We are also a little bit worried about it.
Ross is a little bit more worried than I am.
We have got a plan. Tom thinks it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But we need to do some training.
There was a little shower the other day, so I decided to pull out of training.
Postpone the training.
We're fair weather guys.
Yeah.
Really.
So we hope it doesn't rain at the end of July.
No, there's a few people who are joining us, some friends and that, and I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I recently saw, have you seen there's some people who hold a life-size plastic cow up on 3 Peaks Challenge?
Oh,
Have you seen that?
No.
It's quite incredible. I don't think we'll be doing anything like that.
Well, somebody might be hauling me up.
Ross has actually said that if we get £10,000, he will do it naked.
So keep your hands in your pockets.
No, brilliant. Right, we'll leave it at that, and we'll see you with Naomi.
Yeah.
Cool. Hi and welcome back. It's Tom again. Ross is filming. We've managed to make it to Bury Home. I'm joined by the lovely Naomi. We've had a nice little discussion just before we start this interview. If anyone's ever been here before, I can completely recommend it. We're sat in beautiful scenery, beautiful surroundings. It's the perfect place to film a conversation like this. And actually, when I was driving up here before, I could see Scarfell. So as I said in the trip, I'm getting closer to it. I've not climbed it yet, but I am getting closer to it. So I'm just going to let Naomi introduce herself and tell us a little bit about what she's up to.
Hi, so yeah, I'm Naomi Wright. I am a psychotherapist, which basically means I'm a counsellor. That's probably the word that you guys have heard before. So I offer one-to-one sessions with people, talking therapy. And the style that I offer is non-directive, so I'm sort of talking to you in a way that's not like, right, I've got the questions or I'm structured like this in the session. I would base it on what you come with that day. So whatever was troubling you or had been on your mind, I would be open to that, and we would basically explore that. So I guess the aim of that is to enable you to understand yourself a bit more, be more self-aware, figure out what you need, and then what you can do to move forward and out of the, I guess, tough place that you're probably in if you come to therapy. So yeah, I qualified last year. I absolutely love it. I am a huge advocate for mental health, self-care, self-love, everything that is really good for us mentally. So as well as a psychotherapist, I am a farmer's wife, as you know. So I have lived on the dairy farm with Dave for 8 years, and been married 2 years. So yeah, I'm sort of fully immersed now in the world of farming. I was a young farmer for over 10 years, so that gave me a sort of early insight, I guess. But I'm not from farming stock, so I'm not a farmer sorter or anything else. I had no idea about it before I came here. So yeah, that's kind of my understanding and my knowledge. So I've got information and insight from living here. I don't claim at all to be an expert in either mental health or farming, but I've definitely got knowledge.
So obviously the reason why we've come, and obviously to link it back to our show, the buzzword what I mentioned in the programme before was is mental health within agriculture. So Naomi, why have you got this sort of, why are you specialising within mental health within agriculture? What sort of brings that back to you?
Okay, so I guess firstly I feel in a really privileged position as someone who lives and breathes farming and is a psychotherapist, so I feel like I've got an opportunity here to sort of gel the two and be like an advocate for both, because I am an advocate for both. I think farming is incredible, and I think there's a lot of amazing people in this industry, and I'm absolutely in awe of what they all do. And also at the same time I think mental health is an incredible, I guess, world now. I don't want to call it an industry, but it's, you know, there's such a good positive movement out there, and I really want to be a part of that. And I think I'm in a really unique position being someone in farming and in mental health, so I just think I've got an incredible opportunity to gel the two and hopefully make a big difference, and yeah, offer the opportunity for farmers to start this conversation and feel happier. And yeah, just, I guess it adds to everything. It's like, it's going to make you more successful. It's a whole package. When you're happy and healthy in your mind, then it's only going to be a good thing.
I think we're very lucky to have you within our industry, because someone who gets it from both sides is a little bit unique. A lot of us, I like to think farmers are very specialised people, but we're specialised in our subject, and we don't get it from both sides. And if we were to go to just a therapist within town, they may not see it from our point of view, where you can relate to that. So I get that. But a question what I asked Ross in the car on the way up, and this is where we're hoping to learn a little tonight, is what actually is mental health?
Okay, so this certainly is my perspective on it, like anything that I talk about. I guess my opinion is that firstly, we all have mental health. So it's like our physical health, we all have it, there's no escaping that. We've all experienced hard times, whether that's a trauma or a loss or grief. So we've all experienced the range of emotions, we all do. A lot of us on a daily basis, you know. Yeah. I've been angry today and I've been happy today. It's like we all have the same emotions, we are all essentially human beings. So mental health is, I guess for me, it's about how am I coping, am I resilient? So if I see something that's like a positive or a really growthful, progressive mental health, that is someone who's finding ways to manage and cope on a daily basis. You know, they're resilient, they can deal with stress, they're looking at new ways all the time to sort of look after themselves. Someone who's perhaps suffering with their mental health or heading towards mental health, sort of an illness or a diagnosis, is someone who really is struggling. So they're not feeling good, they're really low, you know, they're just really struggling with coping with anything, whether that's stress or an incident or an event. And obviously, you know, there's lots of those reasons in farming that could upset you and be painful. So yeah, my view of mental health is that we all have it, it's relevant to all of us, but it's about, am I coping or am I not coping, and yeah, do I need help or am I okay on my own? Yeah.
Well, talking about some topics, what links it with agriculture, I mean, my take on why are we in this situation with mental health is, a personal take is maybe farmers are under pressure. Naomi just mentioned a word, resilient. I mean, I think farmers are some of the most resilient people I've ever met. The pressure they can handle year upon year through various things, and still be here, still be farming, and still sticking at what they do. Most businessmen would have packed it in years ago. Financial pressure, I know I see a lot of friends, and you know, the prices fluctuate, and we seem to be quite bold in coming forth and saying, well, I can do it at such a price, and I can do it at such a price. And I think maybe sometimes we can yes, it is a business, but sometimes we maybe need to step back a little bit and realise that everyone's in a unique situation. Some farmers own their farms, some farmers don't own their farms. Some farmers only, struggle for staff and will have to pay more in the area because it's more of a competitive area. And I think we maybe need to back off each other a little bit, because yes, you might be able to do it for 3p less than your neighbour, but that neighbour might be in a completely different situation to you. And this is where I'm a believer that financial pressure is very individual, and that is what is pushing mental health in farming. Now I know, Naomi, you've got another thought of what, another issue what could be linked with mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to acknowledge yours as well. I think financial pressure is a huge aspect, and I think farmers are incredible that they can run these sometimes pretty massive businesses with probably not a lot of business training, and they've got this sort of price that's dictated by not themselves. So yeah, it is something that's definitely going to create a tension. It creates tension in me sometimes. So that's obviously escalated when you're talking that someone is running their own farm. I think on top of that, which is always a feeling for me, it's like always on top of with farming, it's relentless, is isolation. So I think that is obviously a massive word, and there's so much within that. A few aspects for me is obviously they're very physically isolated often, so they could be a long way from friends, from family, from the GP, from a hospital, from any resource or any service. Sometimes they could be literally like an hour away from anywhere, and that is just in itself daunting and scary, and just makes life difficult. I guess additionally you've got sort of an emotional isolation, so perhaps just living with family and not having that chance to chat or speak to either a professional or a friend, and just that social deprivation, I guess, that you might not be able to pop to the pub or go to a networking event or a support group because you're just so far away. And you're also isolated from the rest of the population. They're maybe quite misunderstood at times, and like people who aren't in the industry probably really don't understand it, so it's quite sort of segregating anyway. So there can be like a them and us type feeling, or just this feeling that like people don't get me, they're not hearing me, and that can be really lonely. I feel really alone in that. So I think there's loads of aspects of isolation that are really relevant to farming. I don't think it's a sort of pigeonhole thing at all. I think
no.
I could go on about that for hours.
Well, you could, and what I've just I've been thinking about, let's sort of link with isolation, but I think farmers are very good at second guessing themselves as well, and they'll see their neighbour sell up and they'll think, oh well, maybe there is no future in this. And I think I was once quoted a figure, there was 39,000 dairy farmers 30 years ago. We're now down to the realms of below 10, if I believe, right? And you've maybe got less of your friends to turn to, and if you do turn to that certain friend who was going under that pressure, you may not be in the industry anymore, and he's now moved on and he's decided to do something else, and you could maybe feel a little bit isolated because you've decided to stand the test of time and stick it out, and you are maybe on your own. We are in the 21st century, and another topic I wanted to bring up is what are your thoughts on sort of the social media aspect, what's now in our world, but within agriculture.
Yeah, so I think social media firstly is incredible. I think it's a really, really powerful resource, and I think we can all learn a lot from it and can also gain a lot of support from it. There are some incredible communities on there. However, when you're talking sort of social media to the detriment of mental health, I think all humans, the whole population, there's a huge an impact when it comes to comparison. So like seeing the best of the best. So like I know that like my husband, for example, follows some of the sort of best herds in America, and he might one day be sat and they've had a disaster of a day, and some cows have got out or something's happened and there's been an accident, and then he goes on at night and there's this incredible farm in America doing like this groundbreaking work, and they've got all this incredible machinery, and you're going to feel low, you're going to feel a little bit, I mean, maybe not take it personally, but some do and some might, and you might just feel a little bit less worthy and less deserving and a little bit depressed. So I do think that is an impact of social media.
Yeah, and I think I'm a believer, you know, you can always take a picture from the right angle. You can always show people, you know, what you want, and you know, I can show you how tidy my house is until, you know, if I miss out the floor, if you know what I mean. We can all do things like that, and I think people only put the best stuff on social media. And I think with farming, you've got to appreciation is what you have to appreciate yourself. Sometimes farmers look for some reassurance from a fellow farmer to say you're doing a great job. You're feeding the world. You're all doing a great job. I believe you're all doing a great job, and especially you know, in the UK, the weather's unpredictable, the prices are unpredictable. You know, we are struggling for staff, and I just think that, you know, sometimes you need to pat yourselves on the back a little bit, and you know, we can look to America, and you know, they're a different climate, they're a different environment, and you know, maybe just be proud of, you know, farming the British countryside, and be proud of what you're doing. If anyone is struggling, Naomi, what would your advice be to them now? Like, let's say they recognise themselves to be struggling, or they recognise someone in their group, whether it be family or friends, they think they could be struggling. What would your approach be to them now?
Okay, so that's a really great question, and I think that's the really important thing, and hopefully what I can do here today is offer some insight, and you know, just perhaps give a few ideas. So I think if it's about yourself, it sounds really simple, but my first thing would always be to talk. So when you get something off your chest and you let it out, you've made it that bit more real, and you've not given it that place to sort of be like, breathe that shame and that guilt and those awful feelings that we all know happen when we keep something bottled up. So let it out, you know, whether that's to someone that you know, whether it's a family or a friend, or it's a professional, so a GP or a therapist. I think just getting it out is like the first step to do it, and it allows you to acknowledge it and to really admit it, and yeah, just almost sometimes like let it go and let it be free. I think that's a really, really important step. Obviously that's not always going to be possible, and that feels really scary and can sometimes put you in a really uncomfortable place, so I really want to empathise with that, and it's not always easy by any means. So I guess something that perhaps isn't quite there yet is like self-care. So I'm a real big believer in the basics, so get some sleep, you know, really look after yourself physically, try and eat well, give your body some time to rest and recover, because it is brutal out there, like the work that these guys do, like the physical nature of it, and just being injured and smelly and sweaty, and sometimes you just need to look after yourself. So I would really encourage any farmer and to just take that time to really sort of try and look after yourself physically. Going beyond physically, I think there's some really sort of good ways that we can change how we manage ourselves, and definitely with farmers, their farms, to suit us more. So I guess in linking into the comparison, you know, you might look at your neighbour and he might be doing something. Well, I guess I want to give you some reassurance that what you're doing, if it feels good for you, then trust yourself, like have some self-belief, because you're doing what you find enjoyable and comfortable, and yes, you might want to change that, so by all means, please, you know, do try something new. But I think sometimes it's about learning ways to manage yourself and manage your farm that feel right for you. And I guess some little sort of details in there is like, sometimes it can really help to have like to-do lists and structure, and like just really look at how you're managing your farm, and that might relieve some stress and offer you some clarity on what you're doing, and what you're doing today and what you're doing tomorrow, and just almost let yourself get your head around it. I think that can be a really important one. And then sort of a further step for that in self-care is obviously getting off the farm, so some time away from those stresses, because I know what it's like. You're looking at it from your bedroom window, from your kitchen window. It's there, it's constant. It's just in your face all the time. So there is nothing better than just having a bit of non-farming away from that stress time. And I really, excuse the sort of word, but I can't stress that enough. That like you need to get away, and you need to have something else that isn't farming, you know. And I know for a lot of farmers it's a lifestyle, it's their hobby as well, but there's always that chance to go for dinner or go for a lovely walk somewhere, just appreciate something else. I think that's paramount to anyone, not just farmers, but I think being in the industry and seeing it, and like that feels so important to me. And again, beyond that, you know, socialising, making sure you're getting out, seeing friends, doing other hobbies, learning new things, meeting new people, stimulating your mind in a way that isn't just constant stress on the farm and god awful amount of paperwork that you guys have to do. So yeah, it's almost about treating yourself really. And I know that might feel really difficult, but you're worth it and you deserve it.
Yeah, I can relate to a lot of what Naomi's saying, and I'm not going to pretend that, you know, I don't think, you know, I've never been through anything, or my friends have never been through anything. I know quite often by the end of the year, come December, I'm sort of thinking, oh, none of my cows are any good, a waste of time, why am I even doing this job anymore? And you know, me and my friends basically have a recharge trip to the Swiss Expo. And you know, we always say that we're going to go. I mean, a few times I've said I'm not going to go, and I always end up going. But I just can't miss it, because when I do go, I get inspired. I'm surrounded by thousands of people who are similar to myself, who love doing what we're doing. And when we come back, we sort of find a second gear. And probably them 3 days we might have lost being there, we more than gain back for when we come home, because we're sort of inspired, we've recharged the batteries, we're all like, oh, I've got one as good as that at home, or I might think I've got one as good as that at home, and if that's all I think, and if that's what keeps me going doing what I'm doing, then I do. And I can also relate to it when I used to go back in the clipping days. I remember me and RB used to wake up in the morning at 5 and start clipping, and we'd do 50 before breakfast, and then we'd do another 30 before dinner, and then we do 15 before tea, and we just used to get slower and slower and slower and more tired and less productive. And sometimes you probably would have thought, you know what, after dinner we maybe should have just called it a day, because it was probably a waste of time what we do. We'd gone back, recharged the batteries, the following morning we might have done 55 or 60. And I think sometimes there's that pressure on a farmer that if he's not out there at 8:15, 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, that, you know, he's maybe letting the farm run away with itself, but actually he'd probably actually gain more by having that precious time with his family, with his friends, recharging and waking up a new person the following day.
Yeah, so I really like the phrase recharging your batteries. I think that's a really great way to put it. I think we just all need to just look after ourselves and be energised. So in answer to your other question about what can we do, or what can all of us do to I guess increase the opportunity for someone to be helped and to speak out. Well, my advice would be to approach any conversation with someone that you're concerned about, or even if you're the one sort of, you know, feeling it, is to approach every conversation making sure that you feel safe and the other person feels safe as well. I think that's really important for people to be able to be honest and open with you. But if you're the person sort of with the concerns and you're approaching someone that you're worried about, I would say don't judge them, whatever they say, you know. Don't sort of be like, oh, don't feel like that, or, you know, don't sort of offer like your opinion too much. Just try and be very open and empathetic and understanding. That's what, like, humans, like, we really want to be heard. So if you just really openly and actively listen to that person and try really hard to understand what they're feeling, you're going to give them that safe space to share with you something. And, you know, it may not happen for most people, they may not feel comfortable. You're probably going to feel pretty uncomfortable. It's a really brave and risky thing to do, to get into conversations like this. And, you know, if we really can potentially save a life. And, you know, I'm sure we've all heard the statistic that a farmer a week in the UK kills themselves. I think that is just devastating, and you know, I'm here with these guys to try and change that, and I really want to be part of the movement that gets this awareness and, you know, gets insight into the farming community so that they can help each other.
To be honest, it's quite inspirational that you know, Naomi is you know, giving up her time to she's, you know, created a business to help farmers, because it's rewarding you know, both ends of the scale. And you know, I think as farmers we like to treat it more of as a community and a family, you know, because we all know the efforts that we all go to. And hearing that statistic that we're losing one of us a week, to me is heartbreaking, really. And, you know, for every person we can try and help, the better. So I really do admire admire what you're doing. So I really appreciate giving up your time this evening. That just, you know, we are doing it for DPJ, this walk. You know, that is going to be PCTV's back foundation. So when we set up the GoFundMe page, if any of you feel like, you know, donating to a wealthy cause, and please do, there'll be a link on the screen for that. Also the link for the DPJ will be on the screen, and also if you want to follow Naomi on Instagram, Facebook as well.
It's at Therapy with Naomi on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, definitely follow her. It's where, you know, I've been following her, not in the trees or anything, just on the internet. So yeah, no, and no, inspirational night, positive stuff, really good positive vibes, and you know, it doesn't always have to be about farming to wake you up. You know, you can read something really inspirational, and there are other people in other tough industries going through things, and so yeah, and also please, anyone who's watching, give us a like, follow us on on YouTube. I know that's not easy because you have to set up an account, but once you've done it, it's a one-off, and then tick the bell in the top corner, and then you'll get notifications about us. So hopefully you'll start seeing our progress towards the 3 Peaks Challenge. I've been Tom. Naomi, thank you.
Thank you.